Where am I? Yeah, in the middle one. Thanks. So first of all, we're going to hear from Eyal from Say.
Yes. Oh, you said it right. Eyal.
Woohoo.
Good. Bravo. Okay. So how to become a creative teacher? It's quite a premise. I have only a short time, so I try to be intensive, but feel free if you want to stop me and ask questions. So I prepared 6 points or 6 insights regarding this challenge. So let's start with this image. This is a teacher together with his students, and this teacher is going to check for attendance for at least thousands of times in his life, let's say 200, 300 times in a given year. So all I do with my teachers, I ask them, can you do it a little bit in a more original way? Do it a little bit different from yesterday. So at the beginning it's very easy for them to come up with ideas and solutions, and then they get stuck. And the moment they get stuck, it's a very good sign, because this is the point where our muscles of flexibility start working. So I suggest to them to forget about anything else, but this focus on the activity that anyway they're going to do in the coming year. So it's part of their schedule anyway. This way it can become part of your DNA, part of like a second nature to you. You don't have to dedicate like a special amount of time for it. Just do it differently each time. So we call this principle 200 and more, which means choose an activity you're anyway going to do. You're anyway going to make like 200 times more in the coming year. Focus on this, and the outcome is a much more flexible activities all over the class, all over the lesson. So this is my first insight to you. It can be checking for attendance, it could be any other activity whatsoever. So this is it. This is part of Say method. We've been working with kids and adolescents and all the ecosystem surrounding them in order to prepare them for the changing and accelerating world of the 21st century. It's quite clear that we have to invent and reinvent ourselves and our profession, and in order for that we have to be creative. We work with different kinds of population. This time the focus is teachers. This is the second point, finding a good teacher. We know this, everyone knows this, but you know, sometimes it's hard and we forget because we're extremely busy. So this is my trick. I have my calendar of mentors. Every year I have 12 mentors. I'm sure that you know some of them. This is Lady Gaga, the amazing, and the last one is my late father. And what I do is I learn them by reading all the newspapers, diaries, biographies, autobiographies, until I can internalize their personality. Yes, in this way you will never walk alone. You always have them as your friend. And when challenging a dilemma, you can ask for their help. I spent a wonderful month together with Lady Gaga. She doesn't know about it, but still, I can tell you it happened. Okay, and we are all one click away from having a very, very wonderful mentor, so why not do that? This is Jack Ma, one of my mentors, and when he was 12, speaking of the young generation, he wanted to learn English. And no English lessons, no music in English, no school for English, so he thought of an idea. So he went to this lobby of a hotel and he suggested to them that he will show the businessmen, he showed them the city for the foreign businessmen, because this is where they stayed. And he did it free of charge, of course, in order to be exposed to the English. He did it for 5 full years. And at the end of this period, his English was great, and he said, I know now what my genius is. I know how to teach myself better than most people do. So I'm being inspired by the young Jack Ma as well as the current Jack Ma. Self-directed learner, this is his insight. Create a story which is quite clear. The teacher as a storyteller, we are all kind of storytellers. So it can look like this, as long as you have a strong beginning and a moment to remember. It's better, this is a better version, as long as you have these 2 points, a great beginning and a moment to remember. So I ask teachers not to get in class before you have a moment to remember, because if you don't have it, you don't have a narrative. If you don't have a narrative, you don't have a story. If you're not going to tell them a story, they're not going to listen, and probably they will not remember anything. So be personal. So you know, it's extremely important. About that, we have many exercises, how to be personal. One that I like the most is the creative introduction. In this case, there are many variations. I ask teachers to introduce themselves in a personal way and creative way by numbers, choosing like highly important numbers that reflect something about your life. For example, this is 3 years that I have my dog, a very good friend of mine. 10 years, it's the time that I've been taking guitar lessons. Now, I have to admit, I don't know how to play, which is a little problem because I quit a lot of time and I switch between teachers, you know. But this is a reminder for me how important it is to be consistent. This is zero sugar, you know, I'm over 40. This is a number that I'm very proud of. I had a special month, I had a much of free time, but this is a number that I'm not going to share with you because I'm much less proud of. So you got the point. Be personal, be personal. About crazy, a little bit crazy, I have 1 minute, at least a little bit. How can you do that? By taking something out, without tables, without books, without homework, without teachers. Be someone else. You're going to enter the class, but not as a teacher. Without students, they can be your partner, but without preparing, sometimes. Try to be less predictable, less rational, less responsible all the time. And the last is the lesson for life. Usually, we say that what they can take out of it, you know. And there are a lot of cliches that you can surprise yourself only if you're going to surprise them. And this is the image I'm going to end my short lecture. Learning materials usually in order to motivate the student, and then you become a satisfied teacher. But it's not the case. The real direction is learning material, you learn something new, you become a satisfied teacher, and the outcome, the magical outcome, is of course motivate the student. There is no other way by that. These are my 6 insights for today. I hope it helped you in a way. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm now going to hand over to Kayla.
Hey everyone, so my name is Kayla Delzer and I am a 3rd grade teacher from Fargo, North Dakota in the United States. And this is a heat wave for us, by the way. 40 degrees is warm. Where I come from, it's already snowing. We had our first school snow day, which I know doesn't exist in Finland. I'm so excited to be here. I've been talking about a few different things throughout my time here. And on this panel, they've asked me to talk about teacher well-being and balance, because we know as teachers we're pulled in many different directions. This week I'm in Finland, next week I'm back in my classroom. And so they asked me to come and talk a little bit about my self-care and how I take care of all of those things at the same time. And so for me it starts with this quote from Annie Downs, that brave people don't stop hearing the whispers of fear, they hear the whispers of fear, but they take action anyways. And I think so often when we're trying new innovations or we're bringing things back to our schools or our districts or our countries, it's hard at first because it's new and it can be very scary, but just because something's scary doesn't mean it's not something that you should continue to try. And so in 2018, this has been my theme, is this trying to carry this theme of bravery into my classroom. It's brought me on trips to London and Finland and all over the world to be sharing my message, and I'm just so grateful. And I honestly couldn't do it without the people that are surrounding me. And so they say that you're the average of the 5 people you spend your most time with. And so I want that to sink in with you for a second. I want you to think about who are you spending your most time with, because you are taking on the characteristics of those 5 people. And vice versa, you actually are also shaping the 5 people that you are spending time with. And so in my life, I don't have room for people who are discouraging me or making me feel less than worthy or telling me that my ideas are never going to work, because it turns out my ideas do work. They actually become the top 100 in the world sometimes when I don't listen to the naysayers or the negative people. And so as a teacher, it's really important to make sure that we're surrounding ourselves with people who are challenging us, but who are also helping us grow. I found this quote last week, and I thought it was so perfect for all of the things that Global 100 represents, is that your circle should want to see you win. Your circle should clap the loudest when you have good news, and if they don't, then you need to get a new circle, right? And so in this room, we have a lot of hand clapping, and we have a huge circle of people who are just lifting each other up and making our ideas shared around the world. And I'm so eternally grateful for that. And we know that in our own countries or in our own schools, it's not always like that, right? And I believe we get this here at Global 100. We get that collaboration is more important than competition, because really, no matter what country you teach in, no matter what school you teach in, we actually all are on the same team. We are actually all on Team KID. Team KID exists from teachers from all around the world, all these countries, and in the United States, as North Dakota Teacher of the Year, I'm working with all of the other state Teachers of the Year to work for Team KID. What can we do to make sure that all kids are growing, all kids are happy and loving school and making progress? And so for me, it comes down to collaborating with other teachers and never competing with them. I've grown a ton in the last few years, actually since about 2011 when I first set up my Twitter account. And I had a PLN, and to me this is not new news in the United States, but maybe it is new news for people. And so I always say everything is worth sharing. And if something is ordinary to you, it might be extraordinary to someone else. So as teachers, we have this duty and this diligence to share everything, because my everyday moment might be something really extraordinary to somebody else. And so I really encourage every innovator, every teacher, every school district to have PLNs in 2018. So basically a PLN is a professional learning network, and it's composed of three things: education friends, information, and social media. And one of my mentors, George Curl, says in 2018, if you're feeling isolated as a teacher, that is a choice that you are making, because it's so easy in 2018 to connect with other teachers. And of course, there's no better connection than face-to-face. But the beauty of social media and the HundrED app is that once we all leave here today, we'll still be connected, and we'll still be collaborating, and we'll still be working together. In education around the world, especially in North Dakota, and especially in the United States, we are facing a real teacher shortage. We actually have less than 3% of incoming college freshmen choosing teaching, and last year 280,000 teachers walked out of teaching in the United States, which is a large gap to fill. And I think teaching is hard, and teaching is harder than ever before. This is just my 11th year of teaching, and I can tell you that what I'm doing in my classroom this year did not exist 11 years ago in my first year of teaching. And so it really comes down to me for making sure that I'm telling those people who have kept me going, thank you. You know those people after you've had the hardest day at school, and if you're an elementary teacher, you have a rug in your classroom that you're crying on the floor. Who do you go to talk to when you're having those meltdown days? Because they need to know. Because so often with education, we only hear the horror stories or the terror stories or what's going wrong. And it's really up to us to talk about what's going right. And so tell those people who are keeping you going, thank you, and let them know. And I have a few different people. Some of you have probably seen my fiance here. He made the trip with me just because I asked him to, which was really kind of him. He's a pastor, and he has nothing to do with education, but he's been mingling with you all at the events like the perfect imposter, right? And he has kept me going. He has cheerleaded me harder than I probably deserve, even on my best or worst day. And so I'm so thankful for him and his support no matter what. And I also have to give a shout out really quickly to my mom and my dad. These are two people who have kept me going on those days when I'm crying on the carpet in my classroom because a lesson failed, or a child threw up on me, or something didn't go as planned. And I'm thinking, I can't be a teacher. What am I doing? Teaching is not for me. These are the people that I call. My mom, pictured here, she taught kindergarten for 42 years, which is insane to me, truly insane to me. And my dad, he taught music for 44 years, which is also truly insane to me. And so, yes, a round of applause for both of them, because they have really kept me going in everything that I do. So just to recap, I really think more than ever with teachers, it's important to surround yourself with the right people. And if your circle isn't clapping for you when you have good news, and if they're not supporting your crazy, innovative ideas, find a new circle, find somebody who can support you. Thank you so much for your time, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hopefully, you guys are starting to find your people. I love that message. Surround yourself with the good folk. Vishal, thank you.
Huamento. Still a good morning? A very smiling good morning to all the wonderful people from all over the world in this room. I think I'd like to celebrate all of you. First, I would like to show you what the smiles is, or we'd like to celebrate first, I guess. So, can we just turn to the person right next to each other and say thanks to for being here from all over the world on either side? You can use any gesture, maybe like this or like this. Thank you for being here. Okay? All right. Okay. Can we come back? And I would like to thank the HundrED team also, Saku, Jessica, Frederica, Pukhraj, and whatever the names I'm forgetting, please. All those people, we just want to give them a round of applause for arranging such a great event. Can I have, I'll just start with the video first, if we can play the video.
Through our Smiles in Education program, we're trying to bring smiles to the faces of each and every teacher and the student in the classroom. Smiles rules which can be used before, during and after every learning activity.
Little love, without smile.
Also enable teachers and students to incorporate their passion into this learning process and make the classroom a recharging station for their energy. We also develop sharing and caring teacher communities, both online and offline, which help each other grow by sharing their issues and solutions of the day-to-day problems they face at school and bring smiles back into their life.
Okay. All right, so we're talking about teacher well-being today, and that's all of you. You know what is a teacher, right? Teacher is not just a person who teaches, it does all these jobs, right? Anything that stands out? We agree? If we agree that all these things what we do as a teacher, please give me a thumbs up. Wonderful. So we are celebrating the well-being for all of these. This is what we need to do. There's so many roles a teacher plays. So well-being by definition is, the very simplest is a state of being comfortable, healthy and happy, right? Looks very simple, but do we put emphasis on that? That is a real question. We as teachers are being very ambitious. So how do we do this? In Smiles, we have tried out an option through mindfulness in everything that we do. And a couple of things that we are trying to experiment now, and let's see how that goes. There are 3 B's in the well-being that I'm going to use. First one is for the body. That's the physical well-being. Many of you are probably aware of that. The second B is for the brain. This is the mental well-being. And the third one is the behavior, or we call it emotional well-being. So let's see how each one of those we can experiment. There are a few techniques that we use for the body, the physical, which is the mindful breathing, mindful eating, mindful healing. So breathing and eating, probably you're aware of that. Let's try one experiment. If you're interested, let's do that. Can you just sit straight in your seats and see if there's any uncomfort position anywhere, stiffness in your back, in the neck or anything? If you're feeling, just put your 2 fingers like this over there. And let's take a deep breath. It could be in the neck, it could be in the lower back. Wherever you're not feeling comfortable, let's just do that. And let's take a deep breath and breathe out through the mouth. While you're breathing out, just press a little bit those pressure points and see if you see anything better now. So this is the physical part. So there are small things like that we can do in the classroom as a teacher along with the students to really get back to anything that is being uncomfortable. For the brain, or getting the mind back to what we're supposed to do, there are several techniques here. I'll just try to maybe experiment one over here, which is the mindful activation of the brain, we call it. So many times we have so many options, right? All the time, should we do this, should we do that, how to prioritize that? So just imagine there's a pond, there's so many fish in there, like all the ideas are fish. So if you put an anchor there or a bait at one point, all the ideas will come together, right? So we use that as the pineal gland. This is the anchor point. If you like to just rub that little bit in the middle of your eyebrows and close your eyes and just think, what are the different things you are supposed to be doing right now? These are the things which bring our mind back to what we're supposed to do in the present moment. It could be a creative idea you're looking for. It could be something you want to recall. So all these things will be helping you to get back your brain activated to what you're supposed to do in the present moment. And then lastly, the third option is the behavior. How do we get the emotional well-being? This is usually the behavior. Our emotions are reflected in our behavior, right? So it could be our behavior or other behavior also. We get upset sometimes. So there are a couple of things that we have tried during the classroom called control of emotions, mindful acceptance, gratitude, many of you might be aware of that, mindful sharing also. So let's see if we can try a little. So there's something called mindful control of emotions. This is what we use is when we have a lot of emotions, turbulence in our mind, okay, something which is not in our control, we are feeling like so excited or maybe so depressed, usually our hands come to our heart, right? Oh my God, oh wow. In both the cases, our hands come to our heart, right? So this is actually a position, there's a research behind that. If you put your fingers in the center of your heart, you can immediately come back to an emotional balanced state. Okay? So just close your eyes and see if you can get some balanced things which are not in your control. It is very useful, especially in the night. If you're not getting a sleep, please try this. You'll get back to sleep. So these are the couple of things we've tried in the program and we've seen those people. So I think this is what is the need of the hour as a teachers. We need to try these things which give us back the energy that we need for teaching. And also the students find it very attractive. Their energy also comes back. So it's a win-win situation for both. So I'm looking forward to some of you trying these activities. Whatever innovations you are, you can still use these techniques to make it more effective and more efficient. And again, I would like to see some more smiles on your face, the smiles from the heart. Thank you.
Thank you. We've got time just for one question, and I'm interested that we're all in lots of different contexts, and we've heard about the change that we want to see happen, but we also have heard about the constraints that we're under. How do you guys think that we can nurture on a broad level in terms of teacher well-being? What can we do to kind of help teachers to have the patience and to have the bravery to kind of make these changes in their context? What do you think?
Well, can you hear me? I'm talking about creativity and resourcefulness, and I think that the major point is to know that our consciousness is designed by the day-to-day experience, by the little things. We call it the big revolution of the little creativity. So don't look for like big hackathons and marathons and like big ideas. Just do something on a daily basis. Few minutes, find a new shortcut find a new way to get up in the morning, to have your family dinner, your morning drill, whatever. And this, when you become more flexible, you'll be happier. We know the linkage between creativity and happiness in the 21st century. It's quite clear. And people have to remember that it's not a binary concept. It's not that either you are creative or not. We are all creative. We are all within this spectrum of creativity. All we need to do is to be a little bit better than the month before.
Okay.
I like that. I think for me, it's also been being mindful, the first thing I do when I wake up. And so I used to be one of those people who, and maybe you're like me, snooze, 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 snooze until I'm running out the door for school. And now I've been more thoughtful about that first 30 minutes when I wake up and really naming things that I'm thankful for and setting my intuition or setting my intentions for the day. And that first 30 minutes has really made a big difference for me, as well as at my school, really partnering up with the positive teachers who are encouraging me and cheering for me, and so connecting with those teachers in my building, but also connecting globally with like-minded teachers, because like I mentioned earlier, this is all about collaboration, and you can't really be the best teacher that you can be without those around you. And so just really finding your people has been really, really important for me.
Vishal?
Yeah, for a teacher, the most important thing is that he should first experience the things that he's going to teach his students, right? And this includes how he can get back the energy or the happiness, either through creativity or some other techniques, the mindful techniques we talked about. But it has to be experiential learning, and teacher has to experience that first. So whatever programs we actually design, it should be in such a way that they themselves treat the teachers as the students, eventually how we want them to take it to their classrooms. So that's how it will be a real thing that the teachers will take it back to the classrooms.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that from a research perspective, which is who I am, that meta level of this is how we encourage our staff, this is how we can encourage creativity, how to be brave, how to try something new. If it doesn't work, it's okay. Mm-hmm. Try again. And we heard from John earlier from the Lego Foundation about being playful. If we do that as a staff and we do that within our schools, social learning theory shows us that children learn from what they see. And if they see us being brave with our profession, and they see us being happy and enjoying ourselves and enjoying our lifelong learning, then they kind of just pick that up. They're sponges, right? Mm-hmm. And they pick that up. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.